Welcome back to the Shacknews Awards. We are talking about the best graphics of the year 2024. So to be eligible in this category, you had to release your game this year and it had to look really nice. So it's either this is not the art style category. I want to make that clear. This is not about art direction. This is about pushing the boundaries of what you can do in video gaming technology with technology, but also like uh, doing it consistently. So it's not something that only a few people can experience. So if it's a console game that looks great and it looks great on PC, I think that's always something that sticks out for us here. So yeah, it has to perform well too, right? You can have good graphics, but if you're a choppy frame rate, you're not going to be
Yep.
in this category. Because once again, like we want the most amount of people to be able to enjoy these games. Uh, so here we go. This first nominee kind of contradicts everything I just said about being able to play it
Oh,
on
that's because you're looking at it as like,
an
from a narrative
exclusive.
standpoint and from
No. I'm looking at it as a console exclusive. Less people can play it because it came out on PlayStation 5 only. And Square even said it on their earnings call that it underperformed
Yep.
because of the console exclusivity and that they had changed their whole philosophy about it because of it. So
but as
that's
far as
why.
what console graphics are capable of, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really does
Yeah.
push what the PlayStation 5 is capable of delivering. And
Hmm.
you see it in the level of detail on every one of the worlds. You see it on when you go to Costa del Sol or the Gold Saucer. You see it in like every single one of those cutscenes is like rendered so beautifully.
I know.
And
I'm gonna
it,
cut you off though, because I'm still listing the nominees here, and you're already campaigning for
of
Final Fantasy
course, go right
VII.
ahead.
But I agree, it deserves to be in this category. I just want to put the caveat that they did say that limiting it to PS5 was an issue financially for them. But yeah, another PlayStation game I have to get to, Ozzy, Astrobot, another nominee, Black Myth Wukong, stunning game, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Stalker 2, Tekken 8. And just to, because people are kind of be screaming at their YouTube videos, our honorable mention goes to Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. This was a very stacked category, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, we had to leave a game on the wayside here. Sorry, Ozzy. Now we can get talking about
Here we
Final
go. Now
Fantasy
you can
7
start,
Rebirth.
Ozzy. Order.
I've made most of the case already, but like when you get to a lot of these cutscenes are rendered so beautifully, the characters look incredible, uh, and when you see like certain scenes, like whether it's the musical scene in the Gold Saucer or those various confrontations with Sephiroth, you see what the console is capable of delivering. It's just so gorgeous to look at, and it's hard to imagine that the PS5 Pro actually somehow pushes that envelope even further, but somehow it does. I
It
mean, you want to spend the $800 for that, you can do that, but I don't think it's necessary. I think this,
$700 without the disc drive.
yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think that with the PS5 that you have now, I think this is a top of the line like graphical powerhouse.
Yeah,
also coming around full circle to the PS3. Was it PS3 tech demo they did for Final Fantasy VII? Like
Oh
we've
yeah, yeah.
come full circle now. Like that is what we got. Like it took 2 generations of consoles, but we got it, and that's incredible to me to see that hindsight. Right, here's what we wanted to look like, and then 20 years later we get it. Like
mhm. No, I think it's a worthy nomination. I think this is the kind of category that it could win, because yeah, to your point, Ozzy, I may have feelings about the Kingdom Heartsification of this franchise, but that has nothing to do with what it looks like.
true.
Uh, so here we are. Next up, though, Astrobot. Now, Astrobot is, uh, I mentioned the graphics here because like the amount of interactable elements on screen, like the one that comes to mind, David, for me is the ice cream level with all the
Mhm,
sprinkles on the ground. And I
mhm.
was like, this is a crazy amount of detail for a world. And I think that's, you see that in all sorts of levels throughout Astrobot, but like when I think about why is it in the category, I think to like the big ass tree level where he's singing all that stuff, but I also think about the sprinkles and like the ice cream level. Uh
Yeah, there are a lot of levels that have that same sort of play mechanic. Like in the Uncharted level, you'll get some treasure, like some rubies and sapphires in the ground, and you can knock them around. And the game is just visually stunning. It's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. There's so much detail in the levels and on the bots themselves, especially the cameo bots.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could sing this game's praises forever. TJ, you want to add anything about this since you reviewed it?
Yeah, every corner of Astrobot, like every inch of that game is just sparkling detail that serves the charm and whimsy of everything going on. Like it's gorgeous and flawless at the same time in a way that maybe only that maybe only a universe full of robots should be, but at the same time like it's also just fun what they do with their graphics. Like they clearly have an awesome vision for coming up with gimmicks, coming up with different variants of worlds and the scenery and gameplay that you put into it, but it all works together so well just because it's seamless in its presentation, in my opinion.
Also,
Mhm.
color in the game is fantastic. Like I love a bright color palette, and it uses like all spectrums of color, which is really cool, bright and vibrant
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it is a vibrant looking game. But yeah, like it's just got a lot of damn detail.
Hmm.
And I love that. And it like yeah, it has to differentiate itself from the other 3D platformers out there, and I think the number one way it does that is through the graphical presentation. This is it's better looking than any Mario 3D game, just from a graphical standpoint. Uh, and yeah, that's a flex. That's a flex for the system. That's a flex for the studio. And yeah, definitely deserves to be here. Uh, Sam, you're probably the person who's been playing Black Myth Wukong more than anyone else on the staff. You've been streaming it on your Friday in America stream.
Yep,
Uh, I think it's Saturday morning in Australia stream. But
correct. Yeah,
can can you speak to the graphical presentation in Black Myth?
absolutely. In terms of graphical fidelity, you cannot look past Black Myth Wukong this year. From texture quality to the hair, the actual facial animations, the skin textures, the environments, the foliage of the trees and the density, how the god rays pass through the leaves and scatter on the ground, the ray tracing of the water reflecting, the surrounding environment. The team behind Black Myth Wukong have pushed this to its absolute limits, and it just looks phenomenal on PC if you've got the tech to crank those settings way up there. Um,
I want to
it,
point out something, Sam. This is, we brought it up when we were talking about the Axis Unseen, the Nate
mhm,
Percupile game, and how it was one of the first UE5 games. This is also UE5.
mm,
So I think we're starting to see studios kind of grasp what they can do with it. So these first few titles are starting to come out. So like a lot of what you're talking about, I think is because of the engine that they chose. Obviously, they had to do the work to make it look good, but I
mm.
think UE5 uh, I think it's like kind of the undertone here is that UE5 is really impressive. And
Yeah, you can really see it on display here. I wasn't aware that they were using UE5. Maybe that detail slipped past me, but
mhm.
if they are, yeah, that makes sense because I can't sing its praises highly enough. The game is absolutely stunning. Even if you just look at screenshots online, you can get a sense of those are. You know how sometimes you look at a screenshot and you're like, okay, so they've sat still, they let everything render, and then moving quickly in this game. You don't have that texture pop in. You don't have that flickering of textures as they're sort of trying to load and whatnot. Um, the glow of the fire, the effects that come out of the destined one as he transforms, the fog, the mist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the crazy particle
phenomenal.
physics and stuff.
The water too.
Crazy particle physics. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam, the
yeah,
water when you do attacks in like water, like it actually like waves it in the direction of your bow staff, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
mhm. No, I think it's we're gonna see this from time to time in the next few years where it's like, oh, this is another one of those early UE5 games. Like, I'm really interested to see what the next Gears looks like in that engine, because Gears tends to be this like love letter to the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, for an I think we only maybe have like a handful of UE5 games. This one stands out for sure.
Yeah.
But also, I just
A
want
great
to shout
testament to
out.
what's to come.
I want to shout out Access Unseen too, though, because like
Yeah.
Nate actually is trailblazing too in that space. I think TJ mentioned like kind of is one of the first indie games to really release with that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, our next nominee is a game that I don't know if TJ really liked it that much when he reviewed it, but all you could say is it sure is pretty.
Yeah.
That's
And
part of the joke of the headline. It was like, very pretty. What was I doing?
Yeah. What
Like,
was I doing again?
this-
That was your headline.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
yeah, Dragon Age the Veilguard, by the way, is what we're talking about. But
Yes.
Yeah. Every location in Dragon Age the Veilguard is just, man, I would love to see this level of design of a fantasy world in anything I play. Like, it's so cool the way the concepts that they put together. Like the sort of coastal city, the sort of city of thieves and magicians and assassins, the underground water prison. Man, they came up with some of the coolest environments I've ever seen in a fantasy fiction video game, and even just like the way that the characters look, and especially the way that you can design your created character. This game easily has the best hair tech I have ever seen on a console game. Like like we're not just talking about being able to do any sort of a lot of different hairstyles from a lot of different cultures, but just like when you walk in the game, the follicles of your character's hair, their bangs, they bounce a little bit that looks more natural than I've seen anyone else able to pull off so far.
I believe they also received praise for actually offering various black hairstyles, as opposed to that one side shave dude that we've seen in every game for the past 5 years. So yeah, to your point, TJ, like the character creator is great, and better than a lot of other ones, and that kind of falls into the graphics, right? Where if like you're sitting here talking about hair tech, that's like better than even in Final Fantasy VII, I would say.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
for
like,
sure. No, definitely better than FF7.
but that's still impressive hair tech over there
It's
in
still impressive hair
FF7.
tech, yeah. But
Just graphically speaking, but I do like the optionality and how many different different styles that they offer, and not just that same one dude.
I've been playing it too, as well. TJ reviewed it, but I've been playing it on the side. Like, while like the narrative and everything is like debatable, it's about graphics, and it is just a gorgeous game. The environments are great. They're bright. They're vibrant. There's a lot of color palettes. The color goes into the design as well. Like, certain attacks are different colors to signify if you're being attacked with necrotic energy, fire energy, ice energy, shadow energy. So like even the graphics play into the gameplay, which is even cooler. Like, and the whole art design just looks great. I mean, it's not the dark, gloomy origins that everyone likes, but I like I said, I appreciate when games use a ton of color. And this one uses the whole palette, so like it really does use everything. There's no, even the underground tunnels, TJ, are like bursting with like reds and pinks and like all these crazy colors. It was really impressive graphically, super impressive. Caused my PC to overheat, so I had to tone it down.
I mean,
a bit.
I was gonna bring it up. It's running on Frostbite engine, which means it's horribly optimized.
Oh,
because I don't know if you've ever run Madden on your PC, like it sounds like a lawnmower when you start that thing.
Yeah, I had to. I was like, why is my PC overheating? Oh, 4K. Okay, we'll do that to 1080, and then it stopped. But yeah.
Yeah. Frostbite engine is another one of those things that they weren't able to scale it onto Switch ever. So all those games built on Frostbite never released on Switch. We're not talking about scalability here. We're just talking about if it looks nice or not.
And it's this year's
Dragon
Leaf
Age
Tech,
the
is hair
Veilguard,
tech.
It really pushed forward some parts of game development here, when it comes to at least character creation, and some of the other graphic stuff. It's fun to watch, like the boss battles and stuff, TJ. Like I know some of them are tedious, but they're stunning. Like it feels like you're watching like an action movie, at times.
Yeah.
Cool.
Some of those landscapes just look incredibly gorgeous, and it takes a lot to get that kind of glowing praise from Digital Foundry. Like they basically said that PC version is one of the best they've ever seen from a graphic standpoint.
Yep. Yeah. Bill, I think it's your time to shine, man. Let's talk about Stalker 2's graphics.
Let's talk about another game that runs on Unreal Engine 5.
There you go.
Also, the X-Ray engine, which is, I believe, like the internal engine that GSC Game World uses as well. So it's a combination. It's absolutely gorgeous. Everybody here has seen, I hope, the videos that I've posted. One of them was the rain effect. Yeah, which itself was beautiful, but also the storms, just the particles,
like the electricity things that like come after you. And
yeah,
stuff.
there's not just those, like there's just literal rainstorms.
Yeah.
And also emissions as well. And the emissions kind of turn the sky. I'm colorblind, but I want to say like a reddish color.
It's orange red, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Burnt orange.
So those effects are absolutely wonderful. The thing that really gets me is that we're used to playing a game and we all play open world games, and what do they all have? Mountains. Why do they have mountains? Well, because if they have a draw distance that is too big, or you can see too far in a lot of cases, that's where things kind of fall apart a little bit, like the rendering distance and whatnot. Obviously Stalker has a lot of like interior locations and caves and whatnot, but if you're just standing on the surface and you're looking around, like you can see across the map, and like the things that are across the map render in, like the power plant that had the meltdown, or that hot air balloon that you can see over the first safe zone that is like visible from basically anywhere as long as you have line of sight. But they didn't, I don't want to say cheat, because I know that a lot of like this is necessary in a lot of games, but for lack of a better term, they didn't cheat and put in a bunch of mountains to sort of like make things beautiful, but only let you see a certain distance. Like it is gorgeous, and it is gorgeous on a giant scale. I've never seen water that looks that good. That's a conversation for another day, but I've never seen storms that look that good in a game. Like it's absolutely ridiculous how good that game looks. I personally don't know that I've ever seen a better game in terms of visuals, visual fidelity at least, on that large of a scale. I know that if you kind of like condense things down and sort of bring the draw distance in, like you can certainly get some beautiful things, but to have it looking that good on that kind of a scale with a draw distance, which I haven't hit it yet, it's pretty crazy.
Also, just to, I'll go on this color wagon even more. I was surprised about the varied color in Stalker 2. Like, I was expecting that game to look very washed out, very dystopian, but like, there's use of color. Like, they get uses of reds and oranges and all these other colors in the spectrum, and it's not just like Fallout 3, where it's just all like shades of green, right? There wasn't really a big color there. I was impressed by that. I wasn't expecting that from a game like Stalker 2 to have that color variety.
When you look at any given time at the world in Stalker, and it goes from like this deep shade of like sort of bluish green where lightning is striking the ground around you, and you can see the grass and trees blowing in it, and then it goes like to a like orange, bright, vibrant red, where if you stay outside too long, you're gonna be in an emission and just die right away. Like, and then it just goes to like a calm, crisp, sunlit daytime. Like, the dynamic weather in this game is so amazing for how it.
You muted at some point.
Oh, where did I get?
It just happened like 10 seconds.
You said the dynamic weather in this
halfway
game
through
is
your last sentence. Yeah.
Right. The dynamic weather is like the star of this show, where it at any given moment it can change the entire world around you at once.
The thing that, and just to really quickly, I was walking through a storm, and when I start walking through storms, because there's so much debris on your screen in those storms, I was expecting my frames to just drop off a cliff, and I just held steady. Like, I was playing on everything is cranked to the absolute max, 2K, and I have it locked at 60. Like, I just prefer to keep things locked at 60. I don't need more than that, but I never dipped. I just walked around at 60 in that crazy storm.
Well, you're definitely not playing it on Xbox.
No, you are correct.
Because I've heard it struggles in some of the Xbox.
I played on
consoles.
Xbox. I've been playing on Xbox. That's where I've been playing it.
Is it running well?
I think well, I've had a few crashes, but other than that, like nothing noticeable that I'd be like, that's awful, and I have to play it on PC. Nothing like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And once again, you mentioned it. You mentioned the X-Ray engine. The X-Ray engine was used early on in the development of this, but they announced in 2021 bill that they shifted over to UE5.
Yeah, I
So
wasn't sure the details, but I knew
it
I
began.
knew UE5 for sure.
It began as an X-Ray game, but I believe they announced in 2021 that they were going to implement UE5 for the engine, which I think a lot of the praises that you're singing, Bill, I don't think you would be if it was. No offense to the X-Ray engine, I just think UE5
No,
is a very impressive engine, and
it's
it's
just
not a
remarkable,
coincidence
and I don't
that
know
we're
what
talking
if
about it
this
multiple
is.
times in this category, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the like. I'm sure it's a combination of both UE5 and what they're doing with UE5, but
Sure.
the fact that I can stand on like the building in the garbage zone and the safe house and just like look glass the entire map in a 360 degrees and just see everything. And it's not like I'm not like zooming in and seeing like trees popping in, like it's just everything's there and rendered.
Yep. And oddly enough, our last nominee, guess what, guys? Guess what engine it was built on?
Cry.
No, Unreal Engine 5. Tekken 8. Tekken 8 is Tekken 8's the best looking fighting game ever, right? Like it's not crazy for me to say that. Mortal Kombat 1 is really impressive as well. Graphically. But
Gotta make that description.
I
Yes,
look
distinction there.
graphically and not on Nintendo Switch, but I think Tekken 8 might be the best looking fighting game we've ever had. And it's just wild to me because I'm not saying that Tekken. I think Tekken used to focus on gameplay over visuals. You know, in the Tekken 1, 2, 3 tag era. Like where it wasn't always on the cutting edge of visuals, it was on the cutting edge of gameplay, or whatever. This feels like they really embraced UE5 and it made like the best looking Tekken ever.
I feel like Tekken's kind of touched on that a couple times though, back in the day, because like it being a launch title back on the PlayStation and
Yeah,
some
you're
of that
right. Like
stuff.
on PS1, yes. But like if Donovan looks at those, he's gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about. These people look like polygon heads.
I meant more like tag,
Okay,
with the drop,
sure.
like you could pull it up and you turn it on and you're like, whoa, okay.
Mhm.
I mean, not as big as a Soul Calibur type of drop of Dreamcast, but still
No, no,
pretty epic.
you're right. But like those first three, I don't think it was really
Yeah.
the but Tekken
So
8's great.
getting that wow factor back is pretty cool, and then with the fluidity of the actual combat,
Yeah.
and like it's nice being able to see that presentation, both on the story side, but then also like if your character detail and stuff like that, it looks good.
And then the stages are also
Yeah, the stages
outstanding.
are epic. Is it?
Maybe the best stages in a Tekken game like ever. And that all goes back to the graphics being so damn impressive. Like you talking about weather effects, Bill, like the rain in this game or lightning effects or whatever. Yeah, Tekken 8's just a gorgeous looking game, and it runs kind of a theme of this category. It runs very well too, after some patches. But yeah, it's another good one. No, TJ, you have anything else you wanted to add?
The stage in Tekken 8 where you got the ships on the sea in the background with a tornado running between them
Yeah.
is perhaps one of the coolest stages that has ever been in a fighting game so far.
Until they put Waffle House in.
Yeah. But like
yeah,
everything going on in that stage is just amazing. That's all happening in the background while you're just trying to beat on a guy that's right in front of you.
Yeah. Tekken 8 ship stage. I just want to get a screenshot so people can know what you're talking about, TJ. Yeah. God, I'm looking at other screenshots too. This is outstanding.
Oh, that might give you the French boat stage though.
It did, unfortunately. But it gave me some other. I don't know. It gave me this screenshot. I'm just gonna drop this in our general chat because I'm just like, anyone who hasn't been playing this, just look at this. Then it might even be from a trailer, but yeah, it's a pretty stunning game. But this category is absolutely stacked this year.
For sure.
And like, it's a stacked category when a Hellblade game comes out and it didn't even make the list, but it is our
Also, UE5.
yeah, and it is our first honorable mention here. So anyone who's yelling at their YouTube device that we're wrong, we might be wrong still, but at least we acknowledge that that game looks nice too. So yeah, I think we've talked enough. You guys want to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, I will start. Let's start with Greg. Oddly enough, Bill and I have been talking in Slack right now about maybe adding the best hair tech as a Shacknews Award next year.
Okay.
But that would just mean that we have another award that we have to make a video for. No. I'm gonna hit my gavel. No, you're nope.
Out of
Sorry.
order.
Out of order. We are not doing that. But yeah, I think that's a solid vote, Greg. I think it makes a lot of sense. This is not a game. You don't have to like this game. It's just it has to be. Yeah, we're not judging anything other than the graphics here. So TJ.
Think in this case I'm gonna go with Astrobot.
Mm-hmm. Ozzy.
I'm also gonna go with Veilguard.
Hmm. Bill.
Stalker 2.
Yeah. I was wondering when we were gonna get our first Stalker 2 vote. Sam.
I gotta go Black Myth Wukong.
Oh boy, this is gonna get messy. Steve.
I think I'm gonna go with Stalker 2.
Mm-hmm. You guys can't hear the leaf blower, can you?
Nope. No.
Okay, good. David.
Stalker 2.
I wasn't sure. I was like, you felt. I know you're an Astrobot fan, but
I'm kind of in the Bill's boat where I just got this new gaming PC.
Okay.
And I have Stalker 2 cranked up to the max, and it's just undeniable how gorgeous that game is.
We should all thank David for buying that PC because he's all but guaranteed that we're gonna get a new NVIDIA GPU in the next few months.
That's how it goes.
You did us a solid. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
Hey, Jensen Wong's just watching David's cart, and he's like, he's gonna buy it. He bought it. Okay,
He bought it.
Get to work
Go.
on this 5090 Ti. It only costs $12,000. Donovan.
Dragon Age of the Veilguard.
Oh, he didn't stutter or anything. He was ready.
Yep.
Denny. This is a tough category.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Dragon Age.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what's going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So what's interesting here is I don't really like Dragon Age the Veilguard like at all. I don't really like Stalker. It's just not my vibe. And
But you like the graphics for either one.
That's the point.
That's the
I was
category.
gonna say the graphics your vibe.
That's the point. And like Dragon Age is impressive. But I think the way that graphics inform the gameplay in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is more impressive to me. So I'm voting for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, which creates a tie. 4 votes for S.T.A.L.K.E.R
that
2
one.
and 4 votes for Dragon Age the Veilguard. So TJ, Sam have to revote. And you have to choose between S.T.A.L.K.E.R or Dragon Age. Which one of you guys wants to go first?
You didn't make TJ's life any easier there.
No, I know you like both these graphically too, so it's a hard category, you guys. But it's not that surprising that we have a runoff vote here, is it? Like,
I think in this case I'm going to go with Veilguard because of the ability to apply whatever aesthetic you want to a character, and that character can still look freaking gorgeous in this game as if it belongs there seamlessly.
Yeah, and all the
that's
cutscenes. TJ's
impressive in
right. Yeah,
itself.
they use them in all the cutscenes.
Sam, do you want to do the funniest thing possible
I
here?
do want to do the funniest thing possible. I'm going to go Stalker 2.
Okay, well, we have new bylaws this year that have not been triggered yet, but here we are.
Boy, do we.
In the event of a tie of the Shacknews staff vote, including me, I serve as basically the Nancy Pelosi here. I get to insider trade on all the stocks, but I also get to place the deciding vote here. And I'm not changing my mind. I'm giving it to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Both games are excellent. I think Dragon Age is stunning. But yeah, I think we're witnessing a new era of UE5 games that's going to let smaller studios compete with bigger studios. And S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is kind of emblematic of that moment. So I'm voting for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. I don't like using this power that has been given to me by the people of Shacknews, but you know, we had to do it because otherwise we'd be sitting here yelling at each other for another hour.
Yeah.
So congratulations to both Dragon Age the Veilguard, all the nominees, and GSC. Was it GSC World? Is that the
GSC Game
World.
World.
GSC Game World. Congratulations to the folks over there. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 has won the Shacknews Award for the best graphics of the year 2024.
And if we do nothing, houses on the mainland will continue to burn and collapse.